The moment we loaded into this game, I swear to you, it didn't feel like just another horror title. No, this one hit different from the very first second. The menu alone felt wrong. Low static humming, a faint echo of wind, and that background image of a lonely RV parked in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by towering pines. You know how some games already give you that gut feeling, that sinking little voice in the back of your head that says this is going to get under your skin. I thought I was ready. I mean, how scary can an RV in the woods really be, right? It's a classic setup. We've all seen it 100 times in movies. But when the screen flickered and we spawned inside that tiny camper with the lights buzzing above our heads, I felt that immediate chill run down my spine. Not because something happened yet, but because nothing did. And that silence, it didn't feel like game silence. It felt like the kind you get in real life right before something terrible happens. I remember laughing nervously, trying to shake it off. I said out loud, okay, not bad, pretty realistic. They nailed the atmosphere. But the more I looked around, the more it felt like the game was looking back at me. The little details, the way the RV blinds rattled in the wind, the way the fire outside kept flickering higher and then suddenly shrinking down, tiny things that didn't feel programmed. They felt alive. My buddy on voice chat joked, "Bro, you're overthinking it. It's just pixels." But then, right on cue, the sound cut out. I mean completely. No hum, no wind, no crackling fire, just silence, and you could hear it in my voice when I said, "Wait, did the audio break, or is this part of it?" Because it wasn't just silence. It was suffocating, pressing down on me, and that's when it happened. The shadows in the corner of the screen seemed to twitch, just a little. Too fast to call it movement, too subtle to say it wasn't. I leaned closer, heart beating a little too fast for comfort. My friend asked, half joking, "Did something move?" And I swear to you, I wasn't sure how to answer. That's when my palms started sweating. A stupid horror game, and I'm gripping my controller like it's life or death. I whispered without meaning to, "We're not alone here." And I wasn't trying to be dramatic. It just slipped out, because that's how real it felt in the moment. And then, clear as day, there it was, the sound that shattered the silence, 3 sharp knocks on the RV door. Not muffled, not glitchy, not distant. Right there, inches from where we stood in game, I froze, eyes locked on that door. My friend stopped laughing. We didn't say a word for 5 whole seconds. 5 seconds of pure, heart-stopping fear. And then I said it, the words I'll never forget. This isn't just a game anymore. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, that's when the first scream echoed through the mountains. Game wastes no time throwing us into the middle of nowhere. Imagine this, an RV sitting in the shadow of massive U.S. mountains, trees stretching endlessly into the night sky, not a single sign of life for miles. It's the kind of setting that feels almost peaceful at first, but the longer you stare at it, the more you start to wonder why it feels so wrong. Inside the RV, everything looked normal, just a cramped little living space. A sink, some cabinets, a small bed in the back. You can almost smell the dusty cushions, hear the faint hum of the generator outside. At first, I thought, okay, this isn't so bad. I mean, we've seen scarier setups. My friend even joked, "Man, this feels cozy, like we're actually camping. All we need are marshmallows." We laughed, relaxed for a moment, and tried to shake off the tension from that opening knock. But then the game started to play with us. The crickets chirping outside, gone, just gone all at once, no fade, doubt, no transition. 1 second they're alive, filling the night air, and the next dead silence. And that silence was heavy, the kind that makes your ears ring. We both sat there, waiting for some new sound, some clue. Nothing, just our own nervous breathing in our headsets. I walked over to the little window by the RV door and peered out. The fire we left burning outside was still flickering, but it didn't feel comforting anymore. It felt like a spotlight, like something was watching us from just outside that glow, hidden in the darkness where the trees began. I whispered, almost without meaning to, "What if something's standing just past the light?" My buddy laughed, but it was one of those shaky laughs, the kind you use when you're not actually fine. He said, "Don't even joke like that, man." But his voice was trembling, and that's when I knew we were both feeling it. Then came the smallest sound, so faint I thought I imagined it, a twig snapping outside just once, then another, not fast. Not close, but deliberate, step by step. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. My friend muttered, "Did you hear that?" And I didn't even want to answer, because admitting I heard it meant it was real. I backed away from the window. The fire outside suddenly flared up, twice as high as before, shadows stretching tall against the RV. And in one of those shadows, I swear I saw it move. Just the faintest twitch, like something's arm shifting. My breath caught in my throat, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my fingertips. We stared at that window, eyes wide, waiting for something to happen. Nothing, just silence again, but it was worse now. Because we knew something was out there, we just couldn't see it. I tried to play it off, saying, "Okay, maybe it's just atmosphere. Maybe the game is scripted to mess with us." My friend nodded, clearly clinging to that idea. But before either of us could convince ourselves, it happened. 3 more knocks, louder this time, directly on the RV door. We jumped, literally screamed into our mics. And the worst part, the knocks weren't random. They had a rhythm, slow, deliberate, like someone out there wanted us to. No, they were real. They were waiting. And just when I thought I had the courage to open the in-game door, the handle started to move on its own. The RV door handle rattled, slow at first, then harder, like someone testing it. I swear my chest tightened just hearing it. You know that moment in a game where you're not sure if it's scripted or if the AI just decided to mess with you specifically. That was this. My friend shouted, "Don't open it. Don't you dare open it." But the problem was we weren't touching it. The handle was turning by itself. We backed up, eyes glued to that door. My character's footsteps echoed in the tiny RV, and every creak of the floorboards made it worse. My buddy kept laughing nervously, but you could hear the panic creeping into his voice. He said, "If it comes in, we're done, man. We're actually done." I whispered, "It's just a jump scare. It has to be." But deep down, I didn't believe that for a second. Then creak. The door swung open, and there it was. At first glance, I thought it was just another camper NPC, like maybe some hiker who wandered into our sight. But the longer I stared, less human it felt. Its body was too still, its head tilted just a little too far to the side, like its neck was bent wrong, and the face, I wish I could forget it, pale, almost glowing in firelight, blank expression, but the eyes wide open, unblinking, drilling right into us. We froze. Neither of us said a word for what felt like forever. The figure just stood there, framed in doorway, like it was deciding if it should step inside. My buddy finally whispered, "Say something, do something." And I couldn't. I literally couldn't move. My palms were so sweaty, I nearly dropped my controller. I kept expecting it to lunge, to scream, to do something sudden, but it didn't. It just watched. Finally, trying to break the tension, I blurted out, "Well, maybe it's friendly." My friend exploded laughing, not because it was funny, but because he was on the edge of losing it. He said, "Yeah, right. Invite it in for hot cocoa while we're at it." The laughter didn't help, though, because while we were joking, the figure did move, just a little, a twitch, its head snapping from one side to the other, fast, unnatural. Then it went still again, like it was testing us, and that's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The fire outside, it wasn't casting just one shadow, it was casting 2. There was something else out there. We scrambled back further into the RV. But it didn't matter. The figure stepped 1 foot inside, slowly, deliberately. The sound of its boot on the floor was sharp, echoing through the tiny space. And just when I thought it was about to make its move, the lights above us flickered violently. The RV buzzed, the screen shook, and everything went black for half a second. When the light came back, it wasn't at the door anymore. It was standing halfway down the hall, closer to us than before, and in that instant we realized something horrible. It didn't walk, it didn't run, it was teleporting, and if it could do that once, it could be anywhere now. The figure was gone from the doorway. 1 second it was there, the next it was standing halfway down the RV narrow hallway, closer, its head brushing the ceiling. I swear my stomach dropped. But he whispered, "Nope, nope, nope, this is broken, this is actually broken." But the worst part, the thing wasn't glitching, it wasn't jittery like a bug, it was smooth, intentional, like it wanted us to see how easily it could move. We both froze, controllers in hand, not even sure what button to press. My character was shaking, not because of an animation, but because my hands couldn't stop trembling on the sticks. The RV, once cozy, suddenly felt like a trap. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Then the lights above us flickered again, first dim, then out, total black. I couldn't see my own hands on the screen, just faint outlines of the RV furniture. My headset crackled with static, whispers layered under the noise, voices that didn't sound like English. Too fast, too broken. My friend muttered, "Are you hearing that? Tell me you hear that too." And I just whispered, "Don't talk, just listen." And that's when I realized something that made my skin crawl. The whispers weren't just coming from the headset. I could feel them, like they were pressing against the back of my neck. Then, click, the light snapped back on for a split second, and there it was, right in front of me, inches away, its face filling the screen, pale skin stretched too tight, eyes wide open. My heart nearly stopped. I screamed, yanked my controller so hard the cord almost pulled out, and then darkness again. This time, when the lights flickered back, it wasn't alone. Another one was standing by the RV little kitchenette. Same pale skin, same tilted head, both of them completely still, just watching. We backed up all the way to the rear bed, hearts pounding, whispering frantic plans to each other like, do we run? Do we fight? What do we even do? But before we could make a move, the cabinet doors started slamming one by one, bang, 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 louder and louder, plates crashing to the floor, the whole RV rattling. I tried the game menu, desperate to pause, but it wouldn't let me. The option was grayed out. My friend yelled, "We're stuck, we can't quit." And that's when panic truly set in, and then came the sound that froze us completely. Footsteps inside the RV, but not just one set, several, fast, heavy, running toward us from both directions of the hallway. We were trapped. The game wasn't giving us a way out. I don't think I've ever gripped a controller so hard in my life. My heart was hammering against my chest, my throat dry, every instinct screaming to run, but knowing there was nowhere to go. And that's when we realized the thing in front of us wasn't the only one in the RV anymore. They were everywhere. The second we realized the RV wasn't just occupied by one thing, but many, the panic set in. You know that gut punch where your brain says, it's over, there's no way out. That was us. Shadows flickered across the walls, cabinet doors slamming shut and then flying open, footsteps pounding from every direction. It was chaos. We both started shouting at each other like actual campers trapped in a nightmare. My buddy screamed, "Start the engine, get us out of here," and I'm fumbling with the controls, trying to interact with the ignition. My character twists the key. The RV dashboard lights up for half a second and then dies. The fuel gauge drops straight to zero. Empty. My friend yells it drained the gas. The game actually drained the gas. My heart was pounding so hard, I could barely think. We were stuck in a coffin on wheels. The pale figures were still there, standing completely still, but somehow closer every time the lights flickered, watching, waiting. I ran to the back of the RV, hoping there was some kind of weapon, some escape mechanic. Nothing. Just the shaking bed, the curtains fluttering like wind was blowing inside, even though all the windows were shut. My friend's mic crackled, and he whispered, "Dude, it's behind you." I spun the camera, and sure enough, one of them was standing inches from my character's face. No sound, no jump scare scream. Just there, staring, that was it. We snapped. My buddy shouted, "Forget the RV, grab the lantern. Run," and in-game, my hands fumbled to pick it up, the weak glow spilling across the walls. I swung the door open, and we bolted out into the woods, and for a moment, it felt like freedom. The trees stretched out endlessly, the mountain air heavy and cold, the fire behind us dying out. I could almost breathe again, but then I heard it, the sound of something chasing, heavy footsteps slamming the ground, fast, faster than we could run, branches snapping. whispering voices circling us in the dark. The lantern light was barely strong enough to see a few feet ahead, and every time I swung it around, I caught flashes. Pale arms darting between the trees, shapes crouching low, darting closer. We kept running, breathless, screaming directions at each other like, left, go left, and don't look back. But of course I looked back, and I wish I hadn't, because behind us, pouring out of the tree line, were dozens of them, not just one or two, dozens, some crawling on all fours, some staggering, some sprinting inhumanly fast, their eyes glowing faint in the dark like predator animals. My friend gasped, "We're not supposed to win this, are we? This is impossible." And I knew he was right. The game wasn't about surviving. It was about dragging us deeper into the nightmare. My lantern flickered, sputtered, threatening to die. I shook it frantically, my hands slick with sweat, whispering, "Don't go out. Please don't go out." The light flared one last time, and that's it. When we saw it, the RV, barely visible through the trees, like a beacon of false hope. We sprinted toward it, branches slashing at us, footsteps closing in from every side. My buddy yelled, "We can't make it, just run." My screen shook as something grabbed at my character's leg, pulling me down, but I mashed the buttons and broke free. The RV door was just a few feet away. I could hear my own breath, my own heartbeat, louder than the game itself. And then, slam, the RV door closed. From the inside, we froze, staring at it in disbelief. The one place we thought was safe was already taken. And that's when I realized something had gotten back there before us. We stood there, just outside the RV, gasping, clutching that useless lantern like it was going to save us. The door slammed shut right before we reached it. And the worst part, the little curtain on the RV window shifted, like something was inside looking out. I whispered, no way it beat us here." My buddy stammered, "That's impossible, man. We just left it behind. We saw them chasing us." But then the lantern flickered, and for a split second I caught it. A pale face pressed against the glass, too close, smiling. Not the kind of smile you ever forget. It was wide, cracked, stretching too far. We both screamed. I don't even know if we were screaming at the game or at each other. I tried the door anyway, hammering the button, but it wouldn't budge. Locked. My friend shouted, "Forget the RV. Keep moving." But where were we supposed to go? The forest was alive with whispers, dozens of voices overlapping, calling our names, taunting us. And then the woods lit up, eyes everywhere, dozens, no, hundreds of glowing white eyes blinking in the darkness, up in the trees, crawling along the ground, circling us, closing the distance. The lantern sputtered in my hand like it was terrified too, and then it died, pitch black, the sound of footsteps closing in, hands brushing against my character's arms, pulling at the screen, dragging me backward. My friend's voice breaking through the headset, screaming, "I can't see. I can't see." And all I could do was mash every button on my controller, praying something would happen. Then silence. Everything froze, no footsteps, no whispers, just dead quiet. My screen lit up again, but not with the lantern, with the RV interior. We were back inside, except it wasn't our RV anymore. Windows were blacked out, covered in claw marks. The cupboards were dripping with something dark and wet, and sitting in the driver's seat, still waiting, was one of them, hands on the wheel, head tilted back, smiling. The screen flickered, static ripping across the picture, and then it cut to black. No victory screen, no game over, just darkness. For a long moment, neither of us said a word. Then my buddy finally muttered, voice shaking, "We're never, and I mean never, camping in the mountains again." I laughed, because what else could you do? But even laughing didn't help, because I kept seeing that face, pressed against the glass, waiting. So yeah, safe to say, this game, never touching it again. And if you're thinking of camping in an RV out in the mountains, maybe don't. At least don't do it alone, because if this game taught me anything, it's that the forest doesn't like being quiet. And trust me, the silence means something's already there. Alright guys, I need to end it here before I actually start checking behind my blinds. If you enjoyed this nightmare, drop a like, subscribe, and buckle up, because the next story I've got makes this one look like a campfire sing-along. Safe to say, we're never opening that game at night again.